Okay, so today we are going to study this concept of calls in arrears. Now, first, let's understand this concept, what is calls in arrears, and then we start with the sum. Now, what happens over here, as we discussed yesterday, that say for example, face value of the share is rupees 10, 10 रुपए का शेयर है, तो कंपनी डज नॉट टेक कंप्लीट 10 रुपीज एट वन गो. कंपनी सेज एप्लीकेशन के टाइम पे यू पे रुपीज 5, अलॉटमेंट के टाइम पे यू पे रुपीज 3 एंड फाइनल कॉल रुपीज 2. So company is not calling the money at one go. Company is calling the money in parts. Now what happens? Now over here, people apply, so they have to give the money. There is no option out. Generally over here also, people give the money. Generally, okay. हो सकता है कि कुछ लोग allotment नहीं भरे. Okay. But यहाँ पे there are quite a good number of chances that people don't pay the money. Now, here we are not going to check the intent of the people, क्योंकि many times the genuine reasons are there where people don't pay the money is पहले सब कुछ ऑनलाइन नहीं था, तो लेटर आता था पोस्टल डिपार्टमेंट के थ्रू, तो हो सका लेटर नहीं मिला, हमारा ध्यान नहीं रहा, हमने पेपर में पढ़ा नहीं, तो रह गए. वन इज अनइंटेंशनल, सेकेंड इज इंटेंशनल कि भाई पैसा देना ही नहीं है या मैं काबिल नहीं हूं पैसा भरने के लिए. नाउ बहुत सारे रीजंस हो सकते हैं फॉर समवन टू नॉट पे अ पार्ट ऑफ इंस्टॉलमेंट ऑफ द शेयर. सो व्हाट हैपेंस फॉर द कंपनी? नाउ लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड द सिचुएशन कि हमने हमारे शेयर होल्डर से 5 रुपीज, 3 रुपीज और 2 रुपीज हमने 3 इंस्टॉलमेंट्स रखे हैं. नाउ लेट्स टेक अ केस कि ये एक शेयर होल्डर ऐसा था जिसने ये फाइनल कॉल पे किया नहीं. ही डिड नॉट पे द फाइनल कॉल. तो इन दैट केस व्हाट डू वी डू, व्हाट डज द कंपनी डू? तो कंपनी क्या करेगा? सबसे पहले जब हम पैसा मंगाते हैं, व्हेन वी आस्क फॉर दिस फाइनल कॉल, वी पास द एंट्री इक्विटी शेयर, फाइनल कॉल, अकाउंट डेबिट, say rupees 2. Okay, I'm just writing rupees 2 for understanding. It will be 2 into number of shares. 2 equity share capital account. Rupees 2. Okay, if you want to take some amount, let's take it, there are say 10,000 shares into 2. Okay, let's take it this way. So 20,000. 20,000. Now we have sent letters to all our shareholders that you have to pay per share rupees 2. But what happened? One person, Mr. A, did not pay final call for 1,000 shares. So now company can treat this in two ways. One way is we use an account known as calls in arrears. Now, what is the meaning of this word arrear? Arrear means outstanding. Arrear यानी जो पैसा अभी तक हमें मिला नहीं है, जो हमें मिलना चाहिए था. So calls in arrears means calls which are yet outstanding. समझ में आया सबको? What is calls in arrears? Calls in arrears यानी कॉल किया पर आंसर दिया नहीं. समझ में आया? यानी हमें पैसा मिला नहीं. दैट इज कॉल्स इन एरियर्स. अंडरस्टूड दिस? कंपनी ने कॉल किया, यानी फोन नहीं करते. ओके, कंपनी ने कॉल किया, लेटर भेजा कि पैसा भर दो, पर हमने पैसा भरा नहीं. तो इन दैट केस एक अकाउंट हम यूज करते हैं. एक मेथड ऑफ रिकॉर्डिंग इज वी यूज calls in arrears account, and other method we do not use कॉल्स इन एरियर्स, बट कॉल्स इन एरियर्स तो एक्चुअली है, यानी पैसा हमें मिला ही नहीं है, डिफरेंट वे ऑफ रिकॉर्डिंग द ट्रांजैक्शन है. नाउ whenever we use calls in arrears account, तो हम पहला एंट्री पास करेंगे बैंक अकाउंट डेबिट. नाउ कितने शेयर्स का हमें पैसा मिलेगा? अब 10,000 शेयर्स के लिए, 10,000 शेयर्स के लिए हमने पैसा मंगा लिया 20,000 पर. ये 1,000 शेयर का जो होल्डर था, 1,000 शेयर का मिस्टर ए, he did not pay the final call. So can I say 9,000 shares के लिए मुझे अब पैसा मिला? So 9,000 into rupees 2, it comes to 18,000. Now calls in arrears is basically calls are outstanding, यानी हो सकता है कि उसने दिया नहीं, पर ऐसा उसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि वो पैसे देगा ही नहीं. तो हम वापस अटेम्प्ट करेंगे कि उसको कांटेक्ट करें, उसको बोले कि भाई तुम्हारा ये ड्यू हो गया है, पैसा भर दो. तो ये हमारे लिए रिसीवेबल है. यू अंडरस्टूड द मीनिंग ऑफ द वर्ड रिसीवेबल? अभी तक रिसीव नहीं किया है, बट ये रिसीवेबल है, पैसा जो हमें मिलना चाहिए, हमारा हक है. तो हम इसके हमारे बुक्स में एक अकाउंट खोलते हैं जिसका नाम है कॉल्स इन एरियर्स अकाउंट. नाउ कितना कॉल्स इन एरियर्स? नाउ 1,000 शेयर पे रुपीज 2, सो इट कम्स टू 2,002. नाउ इसको डेबिट क्यों किया? अकाउंट डेबिट. डेबिट क्यों किया? क्योंकि ये हमारा रिसीवेबल है. इज दिस क्लियर? इज दिस क्लियर? नाउ टू व्हाट? नाउ इक्विटी शेयर फाइनल कॉल को हम क्रेडिट कर देंगे टू इक्विटी शेयर फाइनल कॉल अकाउंट 20,000. So one is you pass an entry like this. Other way of doing it is, it's a very other way is very simple. तुम्हें इसमें बिल्कुल स्ट्रेस लेने की जरूरत नहीं है. This is the method we will use more likely. इसमें हम क्या करेंगे? बैंक अकाउंट डेबिट. नाउ बैंक अकाउंट डेबिट हमको पता ही है कि 9,000 शेयर्स पे हमें पैसा मिला है इंटू रुपीज 2, so that is 18,000. To directly equity share final call 18,000. Now you can see over here we are not using calls in arrears account, यानी हम ये अकाउंट calls in arrears यहाँ पे we do not use calls in arrears. Here we are not using this account. Now the question comes कि सर क्यों ऐसा? जब calls in arrears है तो हम क्यों ऐसा करते हैं? तो कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, because as you can see over here in this entry where calls in arrears is used, equity share final call debit किया 20 से, equity share final call credit किया 20 से, so 2020 ये हो गया 0, ये हो गया 0. उसके साथ साथ यहाँ पे बैंक अकाउंट डेबिट हो गया 18,000 से, जो पैसा हमारे पास एक्चुअली आया. और कॉल्स इन एरियर्स एक हमने रिसीवेबल या एक असेट अकाउंट अलग से क्रिएट किया, जो हमारे ट्रायल बैलेंस में अगर आएगा तो वो दिखाएगा कि इतना पैसा शेयर होल्डर से मिलना बाकी है. दूसरे मेथड में हमने क्या किया? इक्विटी शेयर फाइनल कॉल को डेबिट किया 20,000 से, पर क्रेडिट किया सिर्फ 18,000 से. सो आई राइट ओवर हियर डेबिट किया 20,000 से और क्रेडिट किया 18,000 से. तो 2,000 का बैलेंस आ रहा है फॉर इक्विटी शेयर फाइनल कॉल. इट मीन्स व्हाट? This debit balance also shows that this amount is receivable. Is this clear? So end of the day, दोनों मेथड में नेट इफेक्ट में कोई डिफरेंस नहीं है. It's just a different way of treating a transaction, and that's why we say accounts is an art. किसी को कॉल्स इन एरियर्स अकाउंट क्रिएट करना है तो इक्विटी शेयर फाइनल कॉल को 0 कर दिया, और किसी को कॉल्स इन एरियर्स यूज नहीं करना है तो इक्विटी शेयर फाइनल कॉल का डेबिट बैलेंस रहेगा. It means debit balance means we have a right to receive this money. This is our receivable. Understood this? So फटाफट ये लिख लो. And then we start with the sum. Calls in arrears is very important concept because calls in arrears हुआ, लोगों ने पैसा नहीं दिया, तो अब हम क्या कर लेंगे? तो कंपनी के पास पावर्स है कि ये पैसा कैसे रिकवर करना, उनके ऊपर इंटरेस्ट लगाना, और फिर भी कोई नहीं देता है तो उन शेयर को फोरफिट करना, यानी शेयर होल्डर से वापस ले लेना और किसी और को ये शेयर्स दे देना. Is a very important concept of this chapter, forfeiture and reissue. Now, calls in arrears में अगर calls in arrears होता है, delay हो गया payment में, तो 10% interest can be charged by the company to the shareholders. यानी अगर तुमने ये पैसा नहीं भरा तो तुम्हें उसके ऊपर इंटरेस्ट लगा के कंपनी को पैसा देना पड़ेगा. Fair enough? Okay, please write this. Now we will be doing illustration number 4 from the textbook. Similar exercise is already solved in my video lecture. Okay, so I'm not doing that again. I'm solving this illustration so that you can have proper solution with explanation for exercise as well as illustration sums. Now, illustration 4. Pranav Limited of Bhavnagar issued 1,80,000 equity shares of rupees 10 each. So issued, underline कर लो, 1,80,000 equity shares of 10 each. Company received application for 20 lakh shares. So here we are receiving more number of shares as application as compared to what we want to give to the general public. Shares were allotted at the meeting of BOD, Board of Directors. Excess share applications were rejected. यानी 18 लाख शेयर्स ही देना है, 20 लाख शेयर्स का एप्लीकेशन आया तो 2 लाख शेयर्स रिजेक्ट हो गए, उनका पैसा वापस कर देंगे. And application money thereon was refunded to the applicants. Amount of share was called up as under. On application, 3 per share. On allotment, here these are all face value, 2.5. On first call, 2. And on final call, 2.5. Check कर लो total 10 हो रहा है कि नहीं. 3 into 5 and 5. Yes, 10 rupees. Okay. Now, Yogesh, who was allotted 1600 shares. So, ये जो Yogesh है, who was allotted 1600 shares, could not pay first and final call money. So he did not pay the first call, he did not pay the final call. Where Neelam, who was allotted, Neelam, who was allotted 1400 share, could not pay the final call money. So Neelam did not pay the final call for 1400 shares. Except this, यानी इसके अलावा all the allotments due from all the shareholders were received on due dates. Yogesh and Neelam paid calls in arrears amount at a later date. Pass necessary journal entries relating to above transaction in the books of the company. Read the question once again and then we can start with the working. While I'm doing the sum, if you have any doubt, you can raise your hand and ask the doubt. You just wait for me. Okay, don't start doing it. We have to do a working for this. Okay, now in these sums, okay, for issue of shares, very important is you have to first do the working properly. If you do the working properly, you will understand the flow of the transaction and you will be able to make the journal entry properly. Now, how we do a working is I've developed a working for you. You have to follow this working. I'm sure तुमने कल वीडियो लेक्चर में देखा ही होगा कि कैसे करते हैं. Once again, I'll show it to you live how we do it. Now, look at the sum. Now, after the sum, when you start solving it, so before the journal entry, you do this working so that you can follow this working and you don't make a mistake. Now, on application, it is 3 per share. So you have to write on application, write the heading working, then on application 3, then on allotment is 2.5. Then on first call, it is rupees 2. And then again on final call, it is 2.5. So total rupees 10. You have to write in your notebook that's working properly. Now, application we received for 20 lakh shares. So 20 lakh shares का application आया. उसमें से हम issue कितने कर सकते हैं? We can issue only 18 lakh shares. So refund is of 2 lakh shares. You can see I've written issue shares and refund shares. So these are not amount, these are number of shares. Now, when we come over here, now यहाँ पे let's check out. Yogesh, who was allotted 1600 share, could not pay the first and final call money. So Yogesh, in case of this first call, he did not pay the first call for 1600 shares. Now please pay attention, all of you. ध्यान दो, all of you for a while. Now Yogesh, for the same 1600 shares, did not pay the final call. So it is not 1600 plus 1600. It is stage wise. I hope you understood this. Hello. यहाँ पे 1600 शेयर मेरे मान लो कि यू आर योगेश तो यू होल्ड 1600 शेयर्स तो फॉर दो शेयर्स तुम्हें जनवरी के महीने में रिमाइंडर आया तुमने ₹2 नहीं भरे फिर तुम्हें मार्च में 2.5 फाइनल कॉल का रिमाइंडर आया तो तुमने वापस वो 2.5 भी नहीं भरा इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि तुम्हारे 3200 शेयर हो गए हेलो पता चला यानी शेयर्स तो 1600 ही है तुम्हारे पास but at the stage of first call you did not pay for 1600 shares at the stage of final call you did not pay for same 1600 shares is this clear all of you thumbs up okay thanks now Neelam. What happens to this Neelam? Neelam was allotted 1400 share, could not pay the final call. So final call के सामने 1400 shares. Neelam did not pay the money. Already यहाँ cross मैंने किया ही है. So tell me, ध्यान दो please, tell me फाइनल कॉल पे टोटल कितने शेयर्स का पैसा मुझे नहीं मिला Akruti B, can you tell me?
Yes, sir, but we have to total of both Yogesh and Neelam.
Yes. So टोटल कितने शेयर्स का पैसा हमें नहीं मिलेगा फाइनल कॉल में?
7,500.
No, I'm not. Okay, amount is 7,500, but total shares कितने? Can I say 3,000?
Yes, sir.
ओके जिन्होंने चैट में मैसेज किया 3000 दैट्स करेक्ट ओके सो अब फर्स्ट कॉल पे 1600 इंटू 2 नहीं मिला फाइनल कॉल पे 3000 इंटू 2.5 हमें मिला नहीं इसमें किसी को कोई भी डाउट है क्योंकि कॉल्स इन एरियर से ही कनेक्टेड है फोर फीचर ऑफ शेयर एंड री इश्यू ऑफ शेयर तो कॉल्स इन एरियर्स का कंसेप्ट एकदम माइंड में स्ट्रॉन्ग होना चाहिए क्लियर होना चाहिए कोई डाउट नहीं होना चाहिए निसंदेह अंडरस्टूड दिस ओके ग्रेट तो ये हमने वर्किंग कर दिया नाउ एक बार हमारा वर्किंग हो गया अब इसमें हमें सिर्फ ध्यान ये रखना है कि योगेश और नीलम पेड कॉल्स इन एरियर्स अमाउंट एट द लेटर डेट यानी लास्ट में उन्होंने हमें कॉल्स इन एरियर्स दे दिया इज दिस क्लियर now interest calculation is not part of your syllabus okay it's just for your objective question कि कितना percent interest company can charge that is 10% per annum given on page number 14 about the question illustration 4 please underline it now let's start with the sum सबसे पहले application came to us so your dates are not given so we use serial number okay so one is not actually the date it's the order of the transaction taking place first of all you received money to bank account how many shares 20 lakh shares into rupees 3 now don't forget to write the heading as I forgot please write journal entries in the books of Pranav Limited amount is 60 lakhs 2 equity share application account 60 lakhs now we are right now not writing the narration so that we can cover more sums and concept but you have to write the narrations many times in exam in the question it is given don't write narration then you don't write the narration okay but if it is not given then you have to write otherwise हो सकता है 8 मार्क के सम में फिर सिर्फ 4 ही मार्क मिले because narration is part of the entry if narration is not written it means entry is not complete now फर्स्ट इज वी रिसीव्ड द एप्लीकेशन यानी एप्लीकेशन आया उसके साथ लोगों का चेक आया फिर हमने क्या किया हमने सब सॉर्टिंग किया कि सब बराबर है कि नहीं और हमने डिसाइड किया कि इसमें से कितने लोगों को हम शेयर देंगे और कितनों का रिजेक्ट करेंगे तो 18 लाख शेयर्स is maximum what we can give and 2 lakh shares are rejected so we go to the second entry goes this way equity share application account debit 60 lakhs 2 now 18 lakh जो हमने नक्की कर दिया कि this many shares we are going to give out to our shareholders So now that much money, I'll be transferring it to my capital. So to equity share capital account. Now I'll do a working over here. So 18 lakh shares into 3. 18 lakh into 3 is 54 lakh. So this is our capital, beginning of building of capital कि 18 लाख into 3 हमारा capital construct हो गया and बाकी का पैसा हम वापस कर देंगे to bank account. Again, I'll write in the bracket. You should follow this practice of writing it in the bracket so that you don't make a mistake. Please, direct calci पे कर सकते हैं. There is no doubt. You guys are very smart, but it may happen that you may make a mistake. So best is you write all this in bracket. Very important. So 2 lakh into 3 is 6 lakh. I'll leave one line blank for narration. All of you understood first 2 entries? Next. Now, as you can see, application हमने कर लिया. This is done. Now we go to allotment. Now we will ask our shareholders to pay us the allotment amount. So we will now give a call to them. Yani we will send a mailer, a email, a SMS that you are allotted so many shares. Now please pay the allotment money. So when we are calling the money, we are calling allotment amount. So we debit a temporary account, equity share allotment account. How much? 18 lakh shares into 2.5 per share. So calci उठा लो and check the amount. 18 lakh into 2.5. It comes to 45 lakhs. Equity share allotment account debit 2. Now we already know that they are our shareholders. We are asking money from the owners of the company. So that much amount what we are asking, we believe that they are going to pay it to us, and that's why we credit this amount what we are calling to our share capital account. So to equity share capital account. 45 lakh. Now we have sent the letters, we have sent messages, we have sent mailers, okay? We have even given advertisement. Now people will pay the money to us. So now we have called the allotment. We started receiving the allotment amount. Check कर लो allotment में कोई भी calls in arrears है नहीं. So we received the full amount. So for bank account debit 45 lakhs to equity share allotment account 45 lakhs. Narrations are very simple. Okay, you can write from the book, and it's very easy. Being full amount received for equity share allotment, or being amount received for equity share allotment. Should I proceed now? Proceed now. Okay. Now, before I go for first call and final call, तुम देखो अभी तक क्या हुआ. इक्विटी शेयर एप्लीकेशन को क्रेडिट किया 60,000 से, फिर डेबिट कर दिया 60,000 से. लेट मी यूज सम कलर टू हाईलाइट. फिर 45 लाख इक्विटी शेयर अलॉटमेंट को डेबिट किया और इक्विटी शेयर अलॉटमेंट को क्रेडिट किया. दीज आर टेम्पररी अकाउंट व्हाट वी यूज, एंड दे बिकेम जीरो. You understood this? All of you understood this? Okay, now we go for the first call. So application is done, allotment is done. Now we go for the first call. Now first call, when we call, we are not knowing if the person is not going to pay. So we have to call the full amount. So equity share first call account. 18 lakh share into first call is 2 per share. Debit 36 lakhs. Now we trust that our shareholders will pay us the amount, so we transfer it directly to equity share capital account. Now as you can see over here कि पैसा मिला कि नहीं मिला, हमने तो उसको हमारा कैपिटल मान लिया कि ओनर इज डेफिनेटली गोइंग टू गिव अस द मनी, एंड वी हैव रेज्ड आवर कैपिटल. वी हैव रेज्ड आवर कैपिटल. तो ये कंसेप्ट एक बार माइंड में रखना, ये वापस आएगा तुम्हारी लाइफ में जब हम फोरफिट करेंगे तब. तो अभी हम क्या कर रहे हैं कि व्हेन वी कॉल द मनी, we assume that we are going to receive the complete money and we transfer it to capital. But what happened? Unfortunately, Yogesh did not pay first call for 1600 shares. So bank account debit. Now बैंक अकाउंट डेबिट में कितने शेयर्स? तो यहां पे 18 लाख शेयर्स जो थे उसमें से we did not receive money for 1600 shares into rupees 2. So 18 lakh minus 1600. So for 17 lakh 98,400 shares, we received the money into rupees 2. So calculated, it comes to 35 lakh 96,800. 35 lakh 96,800. 35 lakh 96,800. Now over here, the sixth one, first we'll go for the method where we use calls in arrears. So next is calls in arrears account. Debit. Now ओवर योर कॉल्स इन एरियर्स कितना है हमारा? कॉल्स इन एरियर्स है 1600 शेयर्स पे वी डिड नॉट गेट ₹2 per share, so that comes to 3200 and 2. नाउ इक्विटी शेयर फर्स्ट कॉल जो डेबिट किया उसको हम कर देंगे क्रेडिट टू इक्विटी शेयर फर्स्ट कॉल अकाउंट. So I'll highlight this over here. In red. Okay, now another way of doing it is, so I'll use alternately or. How we can write the sixth entry is once again. Now what we do is we write simple bank account debit exactly the same like this, and we write to equity share first call 35,96,800. Yani in this entry we will not use calls in arrears. So you write both the entries or karke. I'll highlight them so that you know. So either first option or the second one you can use. Got it, all of you? Okay. Now, next one, 7. Now we call the final call. So equity share, final call account debit, ब्रैकेट में अगेन 18 लाख, यानी अगेन हम उसके पास फाइनल कॉल भी मांगेंगे कि भाई फर्स्ट कॉल तो बाकी है, फाइनल कॉल भी अब तुम्हें मुझे देना है. सो 18 लाख इंटू 2.5, $45 lakh. To इक्विटी शेयर कैपिटल अकाउंट. हमें पूरा भरोसा है कि हमें पूरा पैसा मिल जाएगा क्योंकि ये हमारे ही शेयर होल्डर्स है, कंपनी के ओनर्स है, तो हम सारा पैसा उसी विश्वास पे इक्विटी शेयर कैपिटल में ट्रांसफर कर देते हैं. पर एज यू नो, विश्वास, ट्रस्ट may lead to betrayal. So that is why there are some people who did not pay the money. So we also have a way how to deal with them, which will be seen in the later lectures. Now, over here, let me close this. Now 7, now 8. Again, we will use both the methods. First method, bank account debit. So bank account, let's check out 18 lakh shares minus, now we did not receive money for 3,000 shares, which is equal to 17 lakh 97,000 shares into 2.5. Into 2.5. So keep calculator handy with you. So 44,92,500 Now we will use calls in arrears. How many? 3000 shares. कैसे आया 3000? You can see the working which you have done. 1600 of Yogesh and 1400 of Neelam. Into 2.5. 7500. To equity share final call account 45 इसको डेबिट किया था 45 लाख को उसको कर दिया क्रेडिट तो ये हो गया 00 45 लाख डेबिट 45 लाख क्रेडिट ओके अभी मैं इसको रिमूव कर देता हूं नाउ और 8th one we can just directly write this entry bank account debit to equity share final call same amount 44,92,500 here we are not using calls in arrears account and that's why you can see कि debit हुआ 45 lakh credit हुआ 44,92,500 now यहां तक हो गया सबका यहां तक हो गया सबका now the sum is not yet over because ये जो लोग थे योगेश और नीलम उन्होंने अब हमें बाद में कॉल्स इन एरियर्स दे दिया नाउ ध्यान दो स्टूडेंट्स ध्यान दो जैसे हमने ऑल्टरनेटिव एंट्री पास किया फॉर कॉल्स इन एरियर्स तो वो पैसा मिलेगा तो उसका भी हम ऑल्टरनेटिव एंट्रीज पास करेंगे तो पहला एंट्री हम पास करेंगे फॉर कॉल्स इन एरियर्स जहां पे यूज किया तो अब यू कैन सी यू हैव कॉल्स इन एरियर्स ओवर हियर of 3200 you have calls in areas debit over here 7500 so total calls in areas is 10,700 so 10,700 you received so you pass the entry now 9th one bank account debit वर्किंग कर लेते हैं इसमें बैंक अकाउंट डेबिट यहाँ पे पहला हमें नहीं मिला 3000 1600 shares पे we did not receive 2 rupees per share so that is 3200 plus we did not receive 3000 shares pay 2.5 so that is 7500 rupees so total comes to 10,700 टू वॉट जो डेबिट है उसको कर देंगे क्रेडिट सो टू कॉल्स इन एरियर्स अकाउंट 10,700 so now you can see this calls in arrears debit 3200 then debit 7500 and credit 10,700 तो ये हो गया zero we received this amount now if we have not used calls in arrears and then what we will do then ध्यान दो please this is the most likely method we are going to use when we do forfeiture and reissue of shares now क्या हो रहा है कि calls in arrears का अकाउंट ही नहीं है तो तुम्हारे पास किसका बैलेंस है तो चेक करो यहाँ पे प्लीज स्क्रीन पे देखना इक्विटी शेयर फर्स्ट कॉल 36 लाख से डेबिट किया और क्रेडिट किया 35,96,800 से यानी इक्विटी शेयर फर्स्ट कॉल में अभी भी बैलेंस है ऑफ 3,200 तो अब बैंक अकाउंट डेबिट तो आ ही जाएगा एज यूजुअल बैंक अकाउंट डेबिट सेम 10,700 पर हमारे पास बैलेंस था कॉल्स इक्विटी शेयर फर्स्ट कॉल का कितना बैलेंस लेट्स राइट इन द ब्रैकेट सो यू बिकम कॉन्फिडेंट कि हमने यहाँ पे फर्स्ट कॉल में 36 लाख मंगाया पर हमें मिला 35,96,800 सो 36 लाख minus 35 96 800 तो ये आ गया 3,200 प्लीज डू द कैलकुलेशन आई विल वेट फॉर यू अ while ओके to equity share final call now 45 lakh we debited when we went for second option and we credited 44 lakh 92,500 44 lakh 92,500 so how much debit balance was there it was of 7,500 check it out 3,200 plus 7,500 10,700 now you close this and ideally you are supposed to do the total also okay here we have done both the methods so your total will not match with the answer in the textbook but still for the sake of making sure that we have written debit column and credit column properly we do the totals so please do the totals double underline it total make format for the next one. Now we'll be doing illustration 5. This question is for calls in advance. Now just like we have calls in arrears यानी वो लोग जिन्होंने पैसा भरा नहीं पर ऐसे भी लोग हैं जिनको पता ही है कि फ्यूचर में ये पैसा हमें भरना पड़ेगा तो अभी हमारे पास पैसा है तो पैसा दे दो तो नाउ यहाँ पे we have to account for calls in advance. Now all of you let's revisit this concept कि पैसा किसी से मिलना बाकी है तो वो हमारा रिसीवेबल है हमारा असेट है पर किसी से हमें पैसा एडवांस में मिल गया तो वो हमारा लायबिलिटी है यू अग्री एनीथिंग व्हाट वी हैव रिसीव्ड इन एडवांस is our liability till services are given or goods are supplied. You agree with me? तो यहाँ पे जैसे कॉल्स इन एरियर्स को हम डेबिट करते थे बिकॉज वो पैसा हमें रिसीव करना था वी हैड अ राइट टू रिसीव इट वाज आवर असेट वैसे कॉल्स इन एडवांस इज आवर लायबिलिटी कॉल्स इन एरियर्स पे हम 10% चार्ज करते थे उस डिफॉल्टर से और कॉल्स इन एडवांस को हम 12% इंटरेस्ट प्रोवाइड करेंगे although interest calculation are not in your syllabus but this can come as a multiple choice question very likely कि calls in areas 10% calls in advance 12%. It's given above illustration 15. You can check what we are going to do. Illustration 5. You can check what we are going to do right now, page number 17. Now, let's go to the illustration. Kena Chemical Company of Vadodara issued for public subscription 3 lakh equity shares of 100 each. So how much is issued? Issued is 3 lakh equity shares of 100 each. Company decided, now here it is 100, so be extra careful. The company decided to collect rupees 40 per share on application, 35 per share on allotment, and 25 per share on first and final call. Company received application for 3,20,000 equity share. Out of application, company rejected application for 20,000 equity share and refunded application money thereof. Now Pranav, जिसके पास बहुत ही पैसा आ गया है, उसने क्या किया? A shareholder of the company who was allotted 3,000 equity share had paid amount due on first and final call in advance. यानी first and final call का जो 25 था, he paid along with allotment money. Except this allotment and call money were called up at appropriate times and were all paid on due dates. Show journal entries in respect of above transaction in the books of the company. So let's write the heading first and then do the working journal entries. This is textbook, page number 17. Illustration number 5. Heading journal entries in the books of Kena Chemicals Company. In the books of Kena Chemicals Company. Now, let's do the working. Now here we do not have final call, we have first and final call combined. So application के time it's 40, allotment के time it is 35, and first and final call is 25. Please check, it should be 100. Application received for 3,20,000 equity share. We can issue only 3 lakh equity share. So refund is of 20,000. We have Pranav. Now this Pranav has paid us money in advance. At the time of allotment, he paid the final call, first and final call on 3,000 equity share. Advance. I'll write advance over here. Okay, so I come to know that this advance I have received on allotment, or let's modify it a bit. Advance of first and final call on 3,000 shares. Now, why I'm writing it along with allotment over here is because this 3,000 share pay, 25 rupees I had received in advance. advance received during allotment on 3000 shares. Done the working? Okay, now let's start the sum. Bank account debit. Date is 1. Three lakh 20,000 shares into rupees 40. So it comes to 1 crore 28 lakhs. To equity share application account. One crore 28 lakh. Second, now we decide our shareholders. So we first transfer equity share application account debit 1 crore 28 lakh to our equity share capital. Now 3 lakh is maximum we can issue. So 3 lakh share into 40. So 1 crore 20 lakhs. And to bank account. We give refund to 20,000 shareholders. Eight lakhs. Now, third, equity share application transfer to capital already done. So this is over. Now, allotment. We are calling the allotment. When we are calling, we don't know that the person is Pranav. Pranav is going to pay us in advance. So we make a normal call. Normal call is equity share allotment account 3 lakh shares into what is the allotment amount? It is 35. 3 lakh into 35. So 1 crore 5 lakh. To now we are making call to our shareholders जिनको हमने decide कर दिया है, तो we believe that they are going to pay us the money, and that's why we transfer it directly to capital account, to equity share capital account. 1 crore 5 lakh. यहां तक हो गया सबका. नाउ पे अटेंशन. अलॉटमेंट के टाइम पे ही वो हमें पैसा दे रहा है एक्स्ट्रा फॉर फर्स्ट एंड फाइनल कॉल. सो bank account. Now we are receiving how much money right now? We are receiving 1 crore 5 lakh, or you can say for 3 lakh shares, you are receiving into 35, which is 1 crore 5 lakh. At the same time, you are receiving in advance for how many shares? Pranav, who was holding 3,000 shares, paid the final call of rupees 25. So 3,000 shares into 25. So do the total. So it is 1 crore 5 lakh plus 3,000 shares into 25. So 75,000. So we are receiving total 1 crore 5 lakh 75,000. Understood this, all of you? All of you understood? 1 crore 5 lakh तो मिल गया. 1 crore 5 lakh तो मिल गया. प्लस प्रणव ने 75,000 जो उसको फर्स्ट एंड फाइनल कॉल पे देना था, वो भी अलॉटमेंट के टाइम पे ही पे कर दिया. एनी डाउट एनीवन? शुड आई प्रोसीड? ओके, नाउ बैंक अकाउंट डेबिट टू इक्विटी शेयर अलॉटमेंट अकाउंट. अलॉटमेंट अकाउंट जितने से डेबिट उतने से ही क्रेडिट 1 crore 5 lakh and 2. Now here we are receiving equity share first and final call account in advance. So we use calls in advance account. You can also alternatively use over here to equity share first and final call account. तुम वो भी use कर सकते हो. अभी के लिए we follow the textbook and we use over here two calls in advance account. How much? Let me write in bracket so it becomes clear. 3,000 shares into 25. So 75,000. Here, instead of using two calls in areas, I'll write in bracket, you can also use two equity share first and final call. You can use this as well. Although we are not using right now, this is just for your knowledge. This can also be used, okay, in place of this. Now, let's go to the next entry. ध्यान देना प्लीज. नाउ अलॉटमेंट हो गया खत्म, लोगों से पैसे भी आ गए. नाउ वी गो फॉर फर्स्ट एंड फाइनल कॉल. नाउ वी विल मेक कॉल टू ऑल आवर शेयर होल्डर्स वेदर दे हैव पेड अस इन एडवांस और नॉट. लेटर सबको जाएगा. तो यहाँ पे फिफ्थ पे वी राइट अ नॉर्मल एंट्री, इक्विटी शेयर फर्स्ट and final call account debit 3 lakh shares into 25, 75 lakhs. 2. Equity share capital account 75 lakhs. 6. Bank account. Now you will have to tell me what amount will come as a bank account debit? You will have to tell me. You can write or you can type the message in the chat box. Okay, so bank account now debit. How much we will receive? Now we have already received amount on 3,000 shares. So I will write in the bracket 3 lakh shares minus 3,000 shares, which is equal to 2,97,000 shares into 25. So what we are getting is 75 lakhs minus 7,500. So, sorry, 75 lakhs minus 75,000, which comes to 74 lakhs 25,000. Now, कॉल्स इन एडवांस जो ऑलरेडी हमें मिल गया था, जिसका क्रेडिट बैलेंस है, क्रेडिट बैलेंस है, अब हम इसको कर देंगे डेबिट. सो कॉल्स इन एडवांस, बिकॉज नाउ इट इज नो लॉन्गर अवर लायबिलिटी. ये एडवांस में आया था तब लायबिलिटी था, अब तो हम सबसे मंगा ही रहे हैं, तो अब इस पैसों पे हमारा अधिकार है. वी हैव अ राइट ओवर दिस मनी, सो वी आर रिवर्सिंग दिस लायबिलिटी अकाउंट. सो calls in advance account debit. How much? 75,000. Please write in bracket 3,000 shares into 25. Already received along with allotment to equity share first and final call. 75 lakh. Now, a student may ask me, sir, what if we did not use calls in advance? In case you have not used calls in advance over here, 75,000, you would have used two equity share first and final call account 75,000. So here you just don't have to use this calls in advance. Directly 7425 और यहाँ पे डायरेक्टली 7425, क्योंकि 75,000 तो ऊपर ऑलरेडी क्रेडिट हो चुका था, तो वैसे भी हम कर सकते हैं. दैट इज ऑल्सो करेक्ट. इनफैक्ट दैट इज बेटर एज पर माई ओपिनियन. ओके, एनीवेज राइट नाउ let's close this, do the totals. Double underline. So that's it for the day. Okay, do the sums as given as homework, and all for all the entries you please write the narration. If you have any doubt, difficulty, let me know. So that's it.